Welcome to Season 3 of the Languages Pedagogy Podcast, where language learning meets innovation, culture, and pedagogy. I'm Mike, your host, and together we'll explore groundbreaking strategies, challenge traditional methods, and empower educators and learners alike. Language is more than a system of communication. It is the soul of civilization, the bridge between past and future, and a carrier of culture, identity, and history. Throughout human existence, language has been shaped by many forces: trade, migration, war, and innovation. However, one of the most profound influences on language has been religion. Religious belief has guided the evolution of countless civilizations, and in doing so, it has shaped the way we speak, write, and even think. It has preserved languages that might have otherwise vanished. It has introduced new words, phrases, and structures into spoken and written discourse. It has been the driving force behind literacy, education, and the very idea of written documentation. Today, we will explore the remarkable role religion has played in language preservation and evolution. A few points that we'll be exploring in this episode are how religious texts and scriptures have preserved ancient languages, allowing them to survive for centuries; how the spread of religions has influenced linguistic expansion, shaping the global language map; how religious traditions have introduced new vocabulary and expressions into daily language, many of which we still use today; how religion has even led to the creation of new language specifically, designed to serve faith-based communities; and finally, how the modern world contributes to be shaped linguistically by religious discourse. This episode will take you across time and space, from the Sanskrit chants of ancient Hindu priests to the Quranic Arabic that unites over 1 billion people today, from the Hebrew prayers that kept a language alive for 2,000 years to the Latin liturgies that define European intellectual life. By the end of this journey, you'll see how language and faith are not just intertwined, but deeply depend on one another, and how, in many ways, religion is one of the greatest forces of linguistic survival and evolution. Let's get started. If we look at the languages that have survived for millennia, we find a common pattern. Many of them were preserved through their use in religious texts. Sacred scriptures act as linguistic anchors, keeping all grammatical structures, vocabulary, and pronunciation intact while spoken languages naturally evolve over time. Let's start with one of the oldest religious languages, Sanskrit. Sanskrit and Hinduism. Sanskrit is one of the world's oldest known languages, dating back over 3,500 years. It was the language in which Hindu scriptures like the Vedas, Upanishads, and Bhagavad Gita were composed. Even though Sanskrit stopped being a spoken vernacular language centuries ago, it has survived because of its religious and philosophical importance. Priests continue to chant Sanskrit mantras in Hindu rituals. Scholars continue to study its ancient text, and it remains a respected classical language of India. Without Hinduism, would Sanskrit have survived? Likely not. It would have faded into history, definitely, much like many of the other ancient Indo-European languages that disappeared without a written tradition to preserve them. Another one, the Hebrew and Judaism. One of the most astonishing examples of language preservation is Hebrew. Over 2,000 years ago, Hebrew was a thriving spoken language in ancient Israel. But following the destruction of the Second Temple and the Jewish diaspora, Hebrew ceased to be a daily spoken language. It could have died out entirely, but it didn't. Why? Because the Torah, Talmud, and other Jewish religious texts were written in Hebrew. Jewish communities across the world continue to use Hebrew in religious services, prayers, and theological study. It remained a language of faith, even when it was no longer a language of daily conversation. This religious continuity allowed Hebrew to be revived in the late 19th and early 20th century, an unprecedented linguistic phenomenon. Today, Hebrew is the official language of Israel, spoken by millions, proving the extraordinary power of religious texts in keeping a language alive. Here's another one: Latin and Christianity. Latin, too, owes its longevity to religion. The once dominant language of the Roman Empire could have disappeared after the empire's collapse. And in many ways, it did. Its spoken form evolved into the Romance languages, which is now French, Spanish, Italian, Portuguese, and Romanian. However, because Latin became the language of the Catholic Church, it remained in use for over 1,000 years as the language of theology, philosophy, and scholarship. Even today, Latin continues to be used in Vatican documents, Catholic Mass, and ecclesiastical writings. If it were not for Christianity, Latin would likely be a long forgotten linguistic relic. Religions are not static. They move, evolve, and expand. And wherever faith spreads, language follows. Christianity and the spread of Greek and Latin. When Christianity emerged in the first century, its early texts, including the New Testament, were written in Greek, which was the dominant language of the Eastern Roman Empire. As Christianity spread into Western Europe, Latin became its main linguistic vehicle. The influence of Christianity ensured that Greek and Latin remained prominent languages for centuries. Even today, Greek continues to be the liturgical language of Eastern Orthodox Christianity, and Latin remains an important language in the Catholic Church. Now, moving on to the Islam and global influence of Arabic. Few languages have spread as widely due to religion as Arabic. Before Islam, Arabic was spoken primarily on the Arabian Peninsula. But after the advent of Islam in the 7th century, Arabic spread across North Africa, the Middle East, Persia, and parts of Asia. The reason? The Quran. Because the Quran was revealed in Arabic, Muslim communities across the world began to study and use the language. Even non-Arabic speaking Muslims adopted hundreds of Arabic words into their native tongues. Today, we see Arabic influence in languages like Persian, Farsi, contains thousands of Arabic loanwords. Urdu, a language heavily influenced by Arabic vocabulary, and Swahili, an East African language with over 30% Arabic origin words due to Islamic influence. Without Islam, Arabic would likely have remained a regional dialect rather than one of the world's most spoken and influential languages. Religion's influence on everyday language. Even in secular societies, religious phrases and expressions have deeply shaped language. Consider the following: by the grace of God, rooted in Christian theology. Inshallah, or God willing, a phrase used by both Arabic and non-Arabic speaking Muslims. Karma, a concept from Hinduism and Buddhism now used widely in English. Amen, used across Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, often at the end of prayers. Baptism by fire, a phrase originating from Christian traditions, now meaning a challenging first experience. Religious terminology has become embedded in language worldwide, showing just how deeply faith and speech are connected. And hold on for a moment. Before we're heading to the following part of this episode, please leave us a comment. What do you think about this? What do you think about all this journey in languages? This journey, linguistically speaking, through religion. It's amazing, right? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget that we upload new episodes every Monday and Friday. So make sure to tune in weekly for your dose of thought-provoking conversations. You can go to any platform, or the platform that you mostly use. Can be Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Castbox, Amazon Music, and YouTube. And if you're looking for a teaching development course or teachers who can help you building up your confidence or build up your language, please pay a visit to our website, MikeEnglishOnline.com. We got interesting discounts over here for our users, for our listeners. Please don't forget to subscribe, rate, and follow us for more. Religion is not a belief system. It is a force that has shaped civilization, cultures, and languages. Religious texts have preserved ancient languages. Faith-driven expansion has spread linguistic traditions. And religious concepts continue to influence the way we speak. As we move forward in an increasingly globalized world, the bond between faith and language will continue to evolve. And as always, I leave you with this thought. Language is history, faith is legacy, and together they form the voice of civilization. Until next time, keep speaking, keep learning, and keep exploring the incredible ways that language shapes our world.